Sean O'Malley wins 29-28, in my opinion. Fair decision. If you are calling this a robbery, you're one of two things. You're either a salty Russian bot that's not a real person, or you're a Sean O'Malley hater that really just didn't give him credit. And I want to know where all this shit from, because dude, for weeks on in now, Sean O'Malley's going to get crushed. He's going to get finished, all this. And then when Sean O'Malley laughs, shows that he can take damage and puts up a hell of a fight, competitive fight, y'all call robbery at the end? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Golden Octagon MMA channel. I am Matt Anderson. Dorian Rose is on the other side of your screen. We are coming off of our most viewed video ever, our UFC 280 fight vlog. It was a blast driving across the state, not that much, but hanging out with you this weekend, dude, and watching the fights. I couldn't have wished for anything else. It was a fucking blast, dude. How are you? I saw you this past weekend, but how are you over this Monday and Tuesday now, as we're filming this on Tuesday night?
Man, it's the same as usual. Fighting the weather a little bit today, so I'm a little bit under the weather, but we'll get the power through. But yeah, getting to do the vlog the other day, man, that was super awesome to be able to do, and it was kind of awesome that it ended up being an early fight card to where we were actually kind of awake and vibrant enough to be able to watch it rather than late at night. I'm kind of sitting there with one eye open trying to watch the rest of the fight. So kind of made it dope for the day card.
Yeah, it was for sure fun. For those of you who don't know, well, I guess none of you know, Dorian this week has cracked his tooth. So he has a dentist appointment tomorrow. So pretty much the exact same thing that happened to me last week. Same thing happening to old D this week. And he says that he's sick. Flu's kind of going around and all that. But I think maybe, just maybe, all the screaming and all the yelling from this past weekend may be taking effect on D Rose's voice. And he's like, oh, yeah, I just don't know what it was. We're only 2 days removed at this point.
Yeah, no. Well, and it was super dope too. And for the ones who have seen it, you see that intro and you see us going high octane levels for a lot of those fights. So it was super exciting, and yeah, it was we had always talked about wanting to do a like some type of vlog like that and watch a card together, and it was dope to finally be able to get together. And honestly, I haven't stopped laughing since I've been watching it, dude. It's nonstop laughs for me.
It was for sure a blast. But let me give you guys a quick rundown on what to look forward to in today's show. So up first, if you thought we weren't going to milk this UFC 280 anymore, you are absolutely incorrect. We are going to give you our thoughts, our breakdowns, our opinions on what happened this past weekend. I actually had it filmed in the vlog this past week, but dumbass over here forgot to turn on the microphone, or it died. One of the two. I have no idea what happened. But and then give you some fight news, some fight talk. Just what to look forward to, or what has happened maybe that you don't know about, that we will announce to you here on this show. Nothing that you can't find yourself, to be honest, though. And then lastly, we will be looking forward to this upcoming weekend's fights. And I got to be honest, Dorian, I have not even looked who it is. It is Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen is the main card. We're going to give you the full breakdown, who we think is going to win each fight on this card. Before we get started, if you guys wouldn't mind, Islam Makhachev, that like button for us. Subscribe to the channel if you are not, and comments are always appreciated down below. So let's get into it, man. Whew, catch my fucking breath for just a second, and we will jump right into it, dude. So UFC 280, dude. I guess overall thoughts on the card as a whole, I guess, without really going into any of the specific fights.
Well, as we had talked about this card coming in for months now, myself, you, MMA media, across all of MMA media had been kind of saying that this was going to be the card of the year. And when you look at the name value, I mean, top to bottom, I mean, it's name after name, and maybe not the superstar name that the casual fans know, but this card was a hardcore's delight. I do think that, I guess if we're being technical, was it the card of the year? I don't think it was a card of the year, but I don't want to take that moment to shit on it because it was still an awesome card.
I don't know if I could feel. I guess I really don't know how you feel about it, but from what I took from that, um, is after it's over now, you're not too hyped about it. Where me, I'm pretty much the exact opposite, dude. This is probably one of my favorite UFC cards, hands down. I don't know if it was just like the experience, like that it was, dude, but just that card as a whole, dude. I want to like remember that shit, like and we'll get into each one of the fights, but just a few of the upsets and just the big moments that happen just like all together, dude, is just one of those like memorable cards that I'm not gonna forget. UFC 280, it was a fucking blast. But let me give you the results of what happened if you don't know. So altogether, starting down at the early prelims, Carol Hosa defeats Lena Landsberg via decision. Muhammad Makayev gets that third round submission over Malcolm X Gordon, dude. Armin Petrosian gets it done in the third round decision over AJ Dobson. I heard some controversy on that about some people thought that was a robbery, dude. I don't think so at all. Abubakar Nurmagomedov versus Omar Gaziev was our first different pick of the night. By the way, you did pick correct. You did pick Abubakar Nurmagomedov, and he does get that decision done over Omar Gaziev. Our second different pick of the night was right here, Volkan Oezdemir taking on Nikita Krylov. You went Volkan Oezdemir, and your boy over here went Nikita Krylov, and he gets that third round decision there. I don't know why I keep saying third round decision. That's just how it's displayed on Google, but he gets the decision win over Volkan Oezdemir. Our next fight, dude, I think we were both on like this fight kind of surprised at the outcome as a whole, because we're like fucking Makhmud Muradov really surprised this, even though Kaya Bahayo does get like the decision in the end. Pretty close fight overall. And then one, dude, you picked this one correct, and it truly broke my heart, and it shattered almost all my damn parlays. Bilal Muhammad gets the second round standing TKO over Sean Brady in the main event of the prelims there. And then main card, starting us off right here, dude. Sorry, I had to my throat was dry. Right now you are up 2-1. Yeah. So our next different pick right here to tie us up was Kayla Chukagian versus Manon Fior, dude. You did pick the choo-choo train. Caitlin Chukagian, dude. I went Manon Fior, dude. This fight was hard for me to pick before the fight started, because as we all know, Caitlin Chukagian by decision is law. That is what it is. It's almost written in the fucking physics books at this point. Beneil Dariush gets the decision over Matus Gamrot, and also shat on a lot of people's parlays, including yourself. At the end of the night, you thought we both picked Matus Gamrot here, and Benny D indeed does get the decision in pretty dominant fashion, dude. And right here, the upset of the world. Everyone's calling robbery. You can say what you want. Sugar Sean O'Malley gets the split decision over Peter Yan, and making himself the new #1 contender in the Bantamweight division. Go check it. Aljamain Sterling gets the second round TKO over TJ Dillashaw. TJ's arm was popping out, and TJ Dillashaw really was just flopping all over the octagon for about a round and a half, and that's pretty much what happened. And then the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Charlie Oliveira. Islam subs him round 2 after dropping him, dude. I know not a lot of people were thinking that was going to happen so early, dude, but it is what it is. Islam and knew it's destiny, brother. Destiny. We had to have known it was coming, and we will not get a -170 favorite for Islam in a long time, dude. Prepare to see -300, -400 from this point on out, man. So that being said, before I guess we start talking about the fights on this card, dude, if I was to told you last week coming in this card, and I just now saw it, that the only 2 knockouts on this card were going to be from Bilal Muhammad and Aljamain Sterling, dude, you would have been like, what? You are so full of shit. Like,
I would have asked what sports book. I would have asked what sportsbook could I go to place an infinite amount of money on neither one of them getting a TKO. I would have put an infinite amount of money on that for sure. So yeah, to see them two be the only ones is nuts.
Yeah, dude. So that being said, dude, let's start right there at the main event. We're just gonna go over the main points of this card because at this point, I'm sure you've heard about it a ton. But right now, Islam Makhachev gets a second round submission over Charlie Oliveira. Real quick breakdown. Islam comes out, dude, and his striking, you guys can see it in the video. I said it up front. I was like, whoa, Islam's striking is not good right now. I don't know if he was like off balance or something. He was kind of throwing some Juliana Pena punches at fucking Charlie there, but it's almost like he just tightened it up real quick. And then from that point on, it was one-way traffic. Islam was just doing whatever he needed to do. Got into the second round, clipped Charlie like a regular Charlie fight. He falls down, but me and you talked about this a lot last week, dude. No one jumps into Charlie's guard once they drop him. No one's done it since Paul Felder. I don't remember if anyway, I'm not going there. Islam jumped in, fucking started hitting him a little bit, and then sunk on that head arm triangle, dude. And Charlie Oliveira was tapping before Islam. The second that he stepped off to the side, Charlie knew what it was and just gave that tap. And we have new undisputed Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion of the world, dude. Take away from this fight, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have really summed it up much better, but I do think part of Islam striking in the first round with it being looking a little bit pedestrian, it did look like he got off balance when he hit Charles Oliveira with that first straight left. He had knocked Charles Oliveira back pretty good. And I think from there, Charles Oliveira, took a step back, which in Charles Oliveira's fights, the dude never takes a step back. So when Islam cracked him with that shot, I think it even surprised Islam, and he got kind of knocked off balance with throwing that weird looking combo that he ended up throwing. But I do think overall that, Islam, the dude is just an absolute hammer, man. I mean, I don't know what, I mean, and we can get into it as far as, early thoughts on Volkanovski and Islam, but, besides Volkanovski, I mean, I don't know who might even have the slightest bit of chance against him right now. Just with his striking looked improved, and then just the wrestling, man. Charles Oliveira, couldn't tell if it was a takedown or pulling guard from Charles Oliveira in that first round, but as soon as they hit the ground, man, you could just see the strength advantage on Islam's side, and you could see from there that it wasn't going to go good for Oliveira, because that was really, if he wasn't going to be able to keep it on the feet and striking with Islam, that was going to be his only way to win, was some type of submission off of his back. And Islam did a really good job at neutralizing all the submission attempts that Charles Oliveira was trying to do. Those Dagestani hand ties and those little leg wraps that they do all the time, was able to keep Charles Oliveira controlled. He did eat a little bit of an up kick there in the first round that looked a little funny at first, but looked like Islam had got his wits about him and came out there in the second round and put him away easy, dude. I definitely had a bet for Charles or Islam in third, fourth, or fifth, so could have just lasted just a little bit longer. But dude, Islam, for him, Charles Oliveira out of there that quick, like you said, the way he ended up stepping over on the other side with that arm triangle, and Charles Oliveira tapped immediately. So that's how you know that grip is super tight, man. And Islam, that dude, I don't know who's going to beat him for a long time, to be completely honest.
Nah, dude, it's I don't, dude. After the Volk fight, like as you said, it's like, bro, I have no idea. So let's kind of talk about that for just a second. Islam said that he wants to eventually move up to 170 after gaining like that number one pound for pound spot. I don't know by beating Volk if he gains that number one pound for pound spot, because Volk is moving up in weight class, I guess. I would need to see Islam go up to 170 for him to be like number one pound for pound, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I mean, if we're looking at it in that perspective, then you could say, Volkanovski, he's only fought in one weight class so far, so it's almost like, well, how can we give him the number one pound for pound? But really, he's got the biggest win streak as far as all the champions right now, and he's been undefeated in his UFC run, and he's only lost at what was it, 185, like way back in the day. So
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, Volkanovski is going to be a tank for sure. And early on, I would have to guess, if I'm guessing a line, Islam's probably going to be at least minus 250. I don't think he's going to cross over into the 300 range just because I do think a lot of bettors are going to have respect for Alexander Volkanovski, but he's definitely going to have his hands full. And the only thing I didn't like was after the fight when Islam and Charles fought and they were doing all the the interviews and stuff like that. There is nothing more cringy than when they invite the fighter up into the octagon and do some awkward ass questioning handshake. They're kind of standing there just looking at each other. It's almost like, what do we even do with Volkanovski standing in here? Because you're not going to fight right now. So what was the point in even bringing him in the first place? So that was kind of the head scratcher for me about that whole thing.
Yeah, it's just to build hype, but now they have to do that fight next. Like there's no other fight that they can do because you already brought them like into the octagon now. Like that has to be next. So it's just kind of an odd thing.
Well, I mean, if you think about it too, DC and Brock Lesnar also faced off, and Brock Lesnar never came and fought. So
but Brock
I
Lesnar
would not
wasn't
put it
in the
past the
UFC though. he was just
no,
there.
but it was no, but it was rumored that he was to come back because his deal with the WWE was getting ready to run up soon. So, and whether it was a leverage point for Brock Lesnar to use against WWE or not, the UFC still invited him into the octagon and let them do that whole thing. So, for that, yeah, that was absolutely now that moment was funny because Brock and DC were about to like fight each other on stage, whereas Islam and Volkanovski, they're way too respectful for one another, and they're not going to sell the fight off of their trash talk. They're going to sell it off their skills. And both the dudes are some badass dudes. But as far as fight hype, I don't need them in there talking to one another. They're not going to do anything to get me more excited than what I could already be, really.
All right. So anything else on this fight, man, or you want to go down to the co-main event?
Yeah, just sad for Charles, man. But I do think, honestly, if you look down the division, I think Charles has a really good chance of getting back. If they do go Volkanovski and Islam, I think the perfect fight would be Benny D and Charles as well. But yeah, Charles will be back. But that was a hell of a title run that he had.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll move on down to the co-main event. The fight that won me this beauty right back here. As you see, the pick champ is back in the background over here because I beat all D over here 2-3 this past weekend. And this fight right here, Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw, won it for me. Dorian went TJ Dillashaw. I did go Aljamain Sterling. Dude, this just adds to the list of reasons why I don't like fucking TJ, dude. It's like, bro, you wasted people's time for like months on end now, dude. Like, if this happened back in April, dude, why are you still trying to take this fight? And if it's popping out multiple times, dude, fuck you, dude. You were wasting multiple fighters' times, dude, that could have taken this fucking championship. Like, all you did was waste your own fucking money because you're not going to go in there and be a world champion with one fucking arm, dude. And, dude, even if his arm was all right, dude, Aljo was getting him down with fucking ease, man. Like, it was one-way traffic. But because TJ was hurt, Aljo was just going in there, taking him down, and fucking TJ was just flopping around, flailing around with one arm. Like, at one point, as you said, like, he like pulled his arm up, like, while he's like on the ground, trying to pop his arm back into place, dude. What the hell are you doing, dude? You did nothing but waste people's time and take a title shot away from someone else because there's no way you're beating someone with one arm. TJ should have pulled out and let someone else have that fucking title shot. But I guess it is what it is. Aljo and Still. I know Aljo's going to get more fucking hate because he's yet to, I guess, cleanly win a title shot without some crazy shit happening, whether he gets DQ win, whether it's a super close split decision fight that a lot of people think that he lost, or now this probably the easiest win of his career where he wins basically before the fight even started.
Yeah, the most unfortunate thing with it really is, you had said it, TJ coming in and, he had knowingly knew that his shoulder was not good going into this camp and even tipping off Mark Goddard before the fight started to say, hey, my shoulder has been dislocated multiple times in this camp. There's a possibility that it's going to do it in the fight. Let the fight go. And I just thought that was so weird that it almost seemed like everybody was just cool with it, man. Like
How did
And
he get
I guess it
past
opens
like the
up.
medicals? Like, how did he get past all of that? Like, did they check that?
Well, I guess if it's something that's popping out as easy as it has been, I mean, I guess, the athletic commission, and that was one of the things we were talking about last week as well. The UFC is their own sanctioning body over in Abu Dhabi. So there's a very good chance that either they could have had an inkling and kept going with it because they knew that it was going to make them the most money, or that they were lax in their due diligence when it came to making sure that TJ Dillashaw was okay to go out there and fight. And it clearly showed during the fight that he was not okay. On the first takedown, he goes to catch himself, and as soon as he catches himself, you see his shoulder pop, and everybody was like, "What is he doing?" And as you said, I seen him on his back, and he's literally just rolling his arm up and just like trying to like cock that shit back into place. And I'm like, dude, that like it was pretty gross to watch. And um, I thought TJ took it on the chin well after the fight to say that he had apologized to everybody, to say that he felt like he held up the division, and the division could have been moving for a little bit now, and the fact that he kind of owned it and said, hey, it could have been somebody else in here fighting for it. They ended up choosing me. I was selfish and took the fight, and hats off to Aldo for being the better fighter. Most time in TJ's losses, like to Cejudo, highly disputed. He's going to the post-fight press conference raising hell about it. Dominic Cruz, same way. Came down to a split decision, and he was irate about the decision. So I have seen times where he's been a very poor sport, but I thought he handled this one well. And on the flip side for Aljo, dude just can't catch a break, man. I mean, I told you I like both fighters coming in, and I wasn't going to be mad about who would have won because I'm a fan of both guys. But man, Aljo just cannot catch a break when it comes to, as you said, getting a clean victory, because there's going to be so many haters that hate him for the Yan fight, that called him an Academy Award winner and all this stuff, and they're just going to hold it over his head even more. But I think honestly, if you look at the division, I think Aljo matches up with a lot of guys in the division very well for the most part. So there could be a chance that he's going to be champ for a little bit.
Maybe, dude. Like you kind of said something there, dude, and it like rang a bell for me. It's like, bro, TJ is like the kid that does bad shit and then like says, "I'm sorry, dude. Just stop doing the bad shit, dude. If you just don't do the EPO and you don't have to apologize and get suspended for it. Just don't come into the fight hurt, dude. There's no way the UFC knew that and allowed it to happen, dude, because they had to have known. Like, do you think you're going to beat Aljamain Sterling on one arm, dude? Like, it just kind of seemed, dude. I have no. It just seems fucking odd, man. It just seems like it just makes me like him. Like, it just makes me not like him even fucking more. And I know that's still one of your favorite fighters, or I don't even know if he is now. But 37, I don't want to see him get another fucking title shot now. Yeah, I'm done seeing TJ fight. If he gets one more, hangs it up, I'd be all right. He's old, man.
Yeah, I do think at this point he's starting to fall into kind of like that Dominic Cruz territory, to where, the injury just cannot get out of their way. And even when TJ took the EPO suspension, he admitted that, while he didn't want to take that much time off, it was good for him because he was able to get shoulder surgery on both of his shoulders, not one, but both. And for his shoulders to still do that after he has had multiple surgeries on both of them, this goes to show that, man, in this sport, especially in this weight class, 135, this division is full of nothing but absolute sharks. And I think it's going to be hard for TJ to really be able to bounce back from that, especially considering the injuries that he's had.
Yeah. So after this fight, Aljamain calls out Henry Cejudo first, Cheeto Vera second, and then Sugar Sean O'Malley third. Let's just take O'Malley out of this for just a second because we do have to talk about his fight next. But dude, as soon as these past 2 days now, it's like Henry Cejudo. I've just seen Henry Cejudo's name so much, dude. Is that the next fight? Like, is that what's happening?
It actually seems like it, and I didn't know if you had wanted to actually lump it in with the fight news. But it's actually looking like that they're targeting Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo for that February pay-per-view with Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev. So it looks like they're actually going to be working on it. Now, whether it's finalized or not, it's not finalized just yet, but it does sound like from a couple of posts that I've read that is what the UFC is currently working on right now. And whether Cejudo deserves it, I mean, he didn't lose the title technically, so I mean, similar situation to where Dominic Cruz was a couple years ago or something like that. You technically don't lose the belt. I can understand the fight hype and bringing the former champion back, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be tough for sure.
All right, so let's move on down. And bro, I'm gonna let you break this down first because I feel like, like everyone's like, oh, of course he's gonna say all this great things. I'm gonna let you go first, as you have been more level on O'Malley than I have from the beginning, dude. Like ever since the Contender Series, I was on O'Malley's nuts. Basically, I was like, dude, this dude, he's powerful, he's good as fuck. And then you're like, bro, I don't see it yet. And it's like, so I'm gonna let you break this next fight down, and then I'll just kind of add from there, man. How did O'Malley versus Jan go? And then at the end, dude, how did you score it?
So it was a hell of a fight. And during our vlog series, I know I mentioned a couple fights for being fight of the night, but this really was the fight of the night. And what I really liked about it most was Sean O'Malley was not going to get a guy that went in there and got punched a couple of times and would get discouraged because and I've thought that Sean O'Malley has some talent. I did think early on in his career he had just had some. And even though he didn't have any losses, just some of his performances were lackluster. So I wasn't as big on the hype train necessarily coming in, but a lot of people criticize him for not having the toughest matchup and whatever the case may be. But you can see in some of those fights, like with maybe not so Moutinho, but Eddie Wineland, guys like that, when Sean would connect with some of those guys, like you could see him kind of wilt a little bit. Peter Yan wasn't going to wilt at all, man. And that dude's an absolute G. I did think in that first round, I thought it was close. Of what did Yan have about like a minute and 20 of control time on the ground. I did think that Sean O'Malley did a little bit more on the feet to edge out round one, which that is going to be the deciding round for most people, in my opinion. Did you have something to say? But I thought in the second round, go back in our vlog again, Sean O'Malley cracked Jan with a big left hand, staggered him, and the whole time I'm like, dude, Jan's trying to draw O'Malley in for a big punch, and I'd be damned if Jan does this thing, and it's just something that I got to shout him out to for appreciation. He gauges the distance with his hands, and then as soon as he gauges the distance, he steps forward, switches stances, and throws it overhand, and it is absolutely money. He has landed it on every single opponent that he has fought. It is a money combo, and Sean was on skates. And we have never seen Sean O'Malley. We've seen him with the broken foot against Andre Sukumtoth, where he was, pushed to the limit. But that's Andre Sukumtoth compared to Peter Yan. So he gets his bell rung. Peter Yan does get a little bit of control time there in that second round. So I thought the striking was even. Yan had about 2 minutes of ground control time, so I thought Yan grounded out that round. Third round was super close. I did think that the damage in the third round ended up coming into play. I told you in the video that in my mind, I felt like the judges were going to give Jan the decision solely because they seen he was on top at the last second of the round. And that in their mind makes it think that he was controlling O'Malley the whole round when O'Malley really put some damage on him. I think he outlanded him by about 20 or 30 strikes. So I thought it was a rightful decision. And I like the grit that Sean O'Malley showed me to be able to eat a punch and be able to fire back.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I love Dorian's breakdown. Just a few other takeaways from round one, as he said, dude. Super damn close. Like at the end, I leaned O'Malley, but I knew it was close. But it's pretty much, what do you value more? Do you value control time, or do you value damage strikes on the feet? That is up to the judges 100%, because you can go back and watch round one, dude. Peter Yan literally maybe landed 6 to 10 punches on the ground controlling O'Malley, and none of them were damaging. He hit them.
They were all pop shots.
Yeah. So it's like, are you taking more value in that over the the hundreds of standing jabs to the, I said hundreds, the like 10, 20 jabs to the face that like O'Malley kept landing, dude. And dude, O'Malley is so good about just keeping that jab going over and over and over. Like it's not always like it's not just one. It's like three or four, like two, and then just a massive straight right. He's good at like fucking splitting the guard, and I've never seen anyone touch Peter Yan that much, dude. That was just round one. That's why I leaned to O'Malley. I was like, dude, he has a fucking chance. But we had think, was Peter Yan coming out slow like he normally does, dude? So I basically thought that's what was happening. O'Malley banked round one. Here comes Peter Yan round two, dude. And in the video, dude, like when O'Malley cracked him, I got so hyped. I was like, fuck yeah, he heard him. Let's fucking go, dude. Peter Yan cracked him back like immediately, like within 3 or 4 seconds. So, like, as you said, like, was he baiting him in? I don't know. I do think Yan was hurt, like, at that point, though. He was just like, damn, I do have to fire back. And as you said, he ends up getting like the I think 3 takedowns like that round. O'Malley tries to get him like with one back, and it didn't really work well to his favor. So you are muted, by the way. So dude, that being said, dude, round two, if you ask me, round two was really pretty close too. The takedowns, I think, won the round for Yan. But if you just take those 3 takedowns out, dude, round two was pretty fucking close too. It was a close fight all around. To me, I think the most clear round overall was round 3 for O'Malley. The fight is scored by rounds. Each round is scored by damage. Who inflicted the most damage on the other person? If you look at their faces before round 3 and you look at their faces after round 3, Sean O'Malley clearly did more damage in round 3. Therefore, he gets that round 3. Sean O'Malley wins 29-28, in my opinion. Fair decision. If you are calling this a robbery, you're one of two things. You're either a salty Russian bot that's not a real person, or you're a Sean O'Malley hater that really just didn't give him credit. And I want to know where all this shit from, because dude, for weeks on in now, Sean O'Malley's going to get crushed. He's going to get finished, all this. And then when Sean O'Malley last shows that he can take damage and puts up a hell of a fight, competitive fight, y'all call robbery at the end? Nah, y'all are O'Malley haters, salty Russian bots. The Sugar Show belongs at the top of the division, and he is now the #1 contender, #1 ranked fighter in the bantamweight division. That's not the champion, dude. Any other takeaway from this fight?
Again, just an awesome fight. As you said, there's no way that it's a robbery. That first round to me was a deciding factor. I thought upon watching it live, I thought that Sean O'Malley won that round, and I thought the second round, I thought it was a clear Yan round, and I thought the third round was a clear Sean round. So, really it came down to that first round, and if it comes down to 1 round in a 3-round fight, that's not a robbery, folks.
Nah. So what's the next fight you want to see for O'Malley, and what's the next fight you want to see for Yan? Just real quick before we move off this fight.
Man, I don't know if you can necessarily do the fight for Yan because he's on a 2-fight losing streak and where he's at, but man, I would love to see a 5-round fight with Peter Yan and Chito Vera. Just both of their styles, both of them just badass, don't give a damns. Both of them have a similar style as far as that slow start. Now, Chito is the nastier one with the badass kicks, those damn elbows that he throws from hell. He's an absolute savage. So I would like to see that for Yan. And for Sean, I would like to see him in a title fight, but I don't think he did himself any favors in the post-fight press conference or his post-fight interview, when he didn't really seem to put himself on the forefront to challenge for the title. When DC asked him about it, he had said, maybe I want to go back and watch, this fight to see how it looked, and, we'll make a decision from there, but didn't really sell himself to really fight for the title. So I don't really know if he doesn't want to at the moment or what, but I mean, honestly, you could put Sean up against just about anybody.
I guess, I'm a O'Malley fan, and I've been kind of like fucking following. And like 2 hours, like fucking after the fight, he's like, some of y'all may have thought I won, some of y'all fucking fucking thought I lost, but I fucking proved a whole lot of shit that I belong up here. I didn't want to call anyone out because it went to a fucking split decision, and I was just now went to a deep dark place that I haven't been to yet. I don't want to fight anyone right now for a fucking few months, so I'm not going to try to call anyone out after. Dude, like I'm sore. Like I just now had the hardest fight of my life. So you maybe have to take that into consideration. Give them like a month, dude. Give them a month, and I think you'll figure out where it's going. I know that was his spot to call for the title, dude. But I'm gonna throw something at you just real quick, dude. What are the odds of UFC making a 5-round pay-per-view main event with Sean O'Malley and Cheeto Vera, dude? Pay-per-view main event, maybe for an interim if there's something up with Aljo and Henry.
The only thing I could potentially
Or
see is an
maybe
interim.
co-main event. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I would say maybe a 5-round co-main event. I don't think you can use
but
that
for the
fight as a
interim,
headliner.
like I do think that I do think a belt has to be on the line if UFC is going to make Cheeto versus O'Malley again. I do think a belt will be on the line there.
Yeah. So I mean, an interim title fight does make a lot of sense. Don't know if I want to use an interim fight to headline a pay-per-view, unless if you want to go double interim like they did a couple years ago with Izzy and Gastelum and Poirier and Max. And those fights ended up being awesome fights. So I'm glad that we ended up getting them. But I know a lot of fans at the time were really scratching their head. I think you can make it as a co-main event, but I honestly want it to be for the title. I don't want it to be for an interim. I want it to be for the full-on strap. And I think either of those guys where they're at, I think they have the skill to get it. Now I do think, we had talked about it just real quick. I do think that Aljo would be the favorite against O'Malley. I think Cheeto is going to be a little bit of a different story where we haven't really seen him get taken down that much. And just that killer instinct that he has, I think he can make things really interesting if he was to get a title fight next.
All right. So you said, so let me just throw this at you real quick. We do have a kind of a jumbled mess right now up at 135. How I see this playing out is Aljo is obviously going to be fighting Henry. So I guess if some shit happens there, some shit's going to happen. Say Henry wins. Henry's immediately going to want to go up to 145, which is going to make some kind of controversy interim spot available there. I want to see Peter Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. Dude, I don't know what's up with my fucking headphone or if it's me. I don't know what it is, dude. If it's like the echo, I don't know. But I want to give me Merab Dvalishvili, the machine, versus Peter Yan. I do think Merab shouldn't be left out in this entire situation here. And O'Malley versus Cheeto in a 5-round, maybe. Dude, I have a hard time seeing UFC putting O'Malley versus Cheeto as like the main event of a fucking fight night card. I do think they're going to want that on a pay-per-view so they can get those buys. Because, dude, O'Malley at this point, hate him or love him, dude, he's a star.
Yeah, he's definitely a star. I just think it's going to be hard for him to headline. He almost needs the full title fight against the actual title holder in order to main event a card like that, or he's the champ and taking on all the contenders. But I think it'd be hard for him to main event for an interim title fight. But I definitely love to see him and Cheetah get back in there and scrap it out, though.
Yeah, dude. So that was pretty much the main event for me. That was my favorite fight of the night.
The people's main event.
The people's main event, if you will. So moving on down the card, I'm gonna let you go for this one. I really don't care too much about. You're way more of a Benny D fan than I am. So Benny D gets the decision over Matus Gamrot. Talk to me. What happened?
Yeah. So like I said, I wanted Benny D. I just had a bad feeling that Gamrot was gonna be able to come in there and kind of give it to him a little bit. But so coming out in that first round, I do think that Gamrot was able to kind of establish the pace. He gets in those just crazy scrambles. His footwork side to side, it makes him hard to hit. and he's kind of waiting to bait Benny D in so then he can shoot for a takedown. And Benny's takedown defense and just his attacks to be able to keep Gamrot on the back foot and be weary of his submission attempts. It really helped him out in that first round a lot. I do think that Gamrot won the first round. Coming out there in the second round, you could see that Benny got a little bit more comfortable. And you good?
Can you talk for a second?
Yeah. So what did you?
I don't
Is
hear
your
you
mic
at
still
all.
echoing? Damn, you don't hear me?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Looks like we're gonna have some audio issues for a second.
Oh shit. Okay, but no, I thought that when I heard Benny D in his post fight, one of the things he actually mentioned was he said that when Gamrot was backing up and going side to
I
side,
don't hear you.
he said that
I still don't hear
it
you
was
at
hard
all.
for him to hit him.
Give me just a
Damn.
second. I guess I'm
Really chase after Gamrot, made Gamrot chase him. He was able to hit him a lot easier. And you could just see from the second round on, Benny just caught all the momentum. And then there in that third round, Benny was pretty much controlling the fight for the most part. But that big overhand left that he was able to land really put the stamp on it in that third round there. And man, Benny just doing what he does, man. Just putting a win streak together. And he's on an 8-fight win streak now. So I'm definitely excited to see what comes next from him. But I was glad to see him be able to get the win.
There's a good chance that a lot of people have no clue like what you said, dude, because for some reason it's like when my headphones were out I could hear you, but when I put them in they turned off. It literally made no sense. I'm like, why are they playing when they're out of my ears? Like it's like the opposite of what happened should have been happening. So I apologize if you guys didn't get all that. Hopefully you got at least the majority of it, but I know basically just fucking Benny D just outclassed Matthews Gamrot, just was the vet up against them as a whole and just outclassed them overall.
Yeah, he definitely did, and I like that. Benny just putting wins together, man. He takes all comers, so that's the one thing that I like about him too. But I definitely want to see him fight up in the division now instead of fighting back. Him and Charles Oliveira were actually rumored to happen about 2 years ago before the fight with Charles Oliveira and Tony Ferguson happened. I think that's a very easy matchup you can make right now, considering where both are, and you can make the argument for if either one was to win, they could fight for a title next. So I think that makes sense for Benny D going forward.
Yeah. All right. So the opener of the main card, Katlyn Chookagian, one of Dorian's pretty much favorite fighter at women's 125, versus Manon Fiorot, up and coming star. I've been saying it for a while now. People need to watch out for her. That going into this fight, she has yet to lose a round on any judge's scorecard in the UFC. So very good, excellent striker overall. And she gets another one here against Katlyn Chookagian, dude. I guess takeaway from this fight?
Yeah, it was I think, I've said it a couple of times during the video when we were watching, but Katlyn's very defensively responsible and doesn't get herself in a lot of bad situations, doesn't really overextend that much. But I did think there in that first round, Katlyn Chookagian, her defense was a little bit tricky for Fiorot. Took Fiorot a little bit to try to find her range. What surprised me was the body mass difference between the two. Because if you look at Fiorot compared to Chookagian, like Chookagian used to fight at 135. She looked like by her frame she could make 115. And Fiorot, she looked like she was cock diesel. Like she looked like she was fighting a weight class above. But no, I did think it was a competitive fight. Thought there in the second round that Fiorot was really able to kind of find her range. She ended up kind of switching her stances a lot, but every time she was switching to southpaw, she was landing that overhand left pretty good for the most part. Was able to kind of catch Katlyn off balance there, and hit her with a couple big shots. And I thought there in that third round, me personally, I actually thought that Katlyn Chookagian won the fight. I actually thought that she landed more in the third round. I just thought the biggest thing was I thought the power shots from Fiorot was really what separated it in the third round there to help get her the decision.
Yeah, I know this wasn't on the fight blog for some reason. I just didn't record like this fight, but I knew like at
Oh,
the
good thing you
end,
didn't.
yeah, like but I knew like at the end, you're like, what? Not even a split? And then you like you were disappointed that none of the judge like it wasn't even a split. It was unanimous for Manov here. I know you were riding for the choo choo there, dude.
Definitely was, and I think, and we'll talk about another one of those fighters coming up, but I felt like Caitlyn just always gets a little bit of slack for being a boring fighter, but bro, it's not like she just goes out there and just lays in praise or just doesn't do anything. She just strikes and tries not to get hit, and I think some of her boxing technique is very clean. She's good at throwing combinations, getting in and out. She's got some pretty decent body kicks as well. But I can understand people not being the most entertained by her. But I think she's a good fighter. She's a clean fighter. She's definitely gonna bounce back from this.
I think she gets a lot of hate for her fucking kias, even though she's not like landing at all. I think that's what it is.
Well, I mean, you can say the same thing about Holly Holm when Holly Holm's like, like literally every single time. So I mean, all fighters have those types of ticks that help them get going, and even some fighters have said that when you exhale on a punch, you land it harder because you're loosening up your body as you're letting that big exhale out. So I mean, it's a little bit of a technique thing that they do. It is. I can understand being a casual and finding it to be annoying, but nothing was more annoying than the air horn from the fights this past weekend in between the rounds.
Without a doubt, dude. So we'll move on to the main event of the prelims, the parlay ruiner of the night, in my opinion. Will you remember his name? Bilal Muhammad gets a second round TKO over Sean Brady, dude. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. Um, I was for sure going for Sean Brady. You guys should go back and watch this entire fight. Dorian is so hyped this entire fight in the fight vlog. Go check that out. Yeah, I'm gonna let you break this down, dude. Go for it.
Man, I was hyped because I didn't even said it in the video. I was like, look, these are two highly skilled fighters, and it's probably gonna be pretty boring. And as soon as that fight started, dude, I mean, Bilal went straight to the center and just got right in Sean Brady's face and did not let up the whole night. I thought his pressure was just relentless. I did think that Sean Brady, we had said in the vlog as well, or at least I did. His striking was a little bit cleaner than I had anticipated because I haven't really seen him tested in that way. He's usually pretty good about getting it to the ground whenever he wants to get it there. My biggest thing was I did think he had some good kicks, but Bilal, once he was able to eat some of the shots and not get deterred by it in any way, I really think that just gave him the confidence to not let up. And the whole time in that first round, Sean Brady's landing that, as you called it, that check left hook, hit him with it a couple times, crushed him with that rear body kick when he was saying the southpaw, and that was a good weapon that he was using. But Bilal with his boxing just didn't let up, and I think right there at that point where he rocked him, Bilal was throwing a 1-2 pretty consistently, just straight down the pipe, and you can see when he throws a jab, Brady goes to shell up and he just guards his face. And Bilal slipped the beautiful overhand just right over the top and just cracked Sean Brady. And me, in my mind, I'm sitting here like, man, Bilal's just going to let this round ride out. He's going to go ahead and, win this round and take it to the third round. And to give him credit, even after the fight, he had admitted it. He said he would not have gone for the finish if Khabib had not been in his corner yelling at him to say, hey, he is rocked. Go for the finish. And he said when he kept hearing Khabib yell that, it was like he just got this energy. It was like, dude, I got to go out here and finish him. And you can see that whole time Sean Brady was on skates. Don't want to say that it was an early stoppage because it definitely wasn't. Could you have given Sean Brady a few more seconds? Sure. But there were about 45 seconds there to where he didn't even throw a punch. He was just trying his best to not get hit. So thought it was good stoppage. And for Bilal to get the stoppage over a young up-and-coming contender like that, dude, that's definitely something for people to remember the name for.
A young undefeated up and comer at that, dude. So indeed. Shout out, remember the name. Will you remember his name? I don't know. It's up to you. I wouldn't bet on him having many more stoppages though, to be honest, because it's only going to be harder competition from here, dude. Just people that are complete fucking savages at 170. A close fight back and forth. Mahmoud Muradov, Caio Bahayo, dude. Mahmoud Muradov really surprised me and you because GM3 basically club and subbed him, and he was in there taking everything Caio Bahayo had. Anything from this fight, real quick?
Yeah, I just thought that Kyle Bahia, we're both high on him, and he's still got the skills, but almost just seems like he just can't. Seems like he just gets stuck in second gear in some of his fights, and it's just almost like he just can't almost accelerate to that next level. Not saying that Miradov is a chump because we were talking about him losing to GM3, but GM3 is a very worthy opponent, and Miradov had like I believe it was like a 17, 18 fight win streak, dating outside of the UFC and into the UFC before he fought GM3. So Miradov is a good fighter. Just felt like Kyle Bahio could have done a little bit more, but Kyle Bahio is still undefeated in the UFC, and I just thought that Miradov looked better than what we've seen from the past from him, but Kyle Bahio did enough what it took to win.
All right, real quick, we're going to talk about Volkan Oezdemir 3 different times. He loses to Nikita Krylov in a pretty dude. Nikita Krylov's gas tank has shown that he can last to decision, no issues. And he just, in my opinion, just beat up Volkan Oezdemir. It really had no issue, just outclassed him altogether. Any takeaway from this fight before we talk about Volkan Oezdemir?
Yeah. So Volkan Oezdemir. Yeah, so I do think in that fight, Volkan Oezdemir came out. He came out like the old No Time, man. The old No Time, he would come out just like a bat out of hell, ready to take somebody's head off. And he really came out there and put the pressure on Krylov early, rocked him a couple of times there in the first round. And about a minute left there in that round, I think it was Krylov who also ended up landing like a big right hand and ended up hurting Volkan and sat him down. And I think from there, it's almost like Volkan couldn't get his wheels under him. Like after he got rocked from that moment, his gas tank was zapped. And Nikita Krylov can do that for days. So if you're going to be tired in front of him, he's going to be able to take advantage. And I think that's what he was able to do to get the win.
So Volkan Oezdemir loses this fight, but he is the ref of 2 other fights. No, I'm just kidding. What's his name? Like Lucas I don't know. The dude looks like a skinny Volkan Oezdemir, and he's a referee. And he had two other he ref twice that just comes to mind from this past weekend. It was Carol Hosa versus Lena Landsberg. In this fight, Carol Hosa lands an illegal knee. He immediately takes a point, as he should. But later on in the fight, Abubakar Nurmagomedov versus Omar Gadzhiev, Abubakar lands an illegal knee on Gadzi, and he was like, "Hey, you're okay?" And then he was like, "I just got kneed in the face." No. And he was like, "Hey, watch it." No point taken, dude. That's
bullshit.
There is not many other, like, bro, you have to be equal here. If you've already done it once in the night for that happening, you have to do it again. Volkan Oezdemir, skinny Volkan Oezdemir, whatever the guy's name is, the ref. I think you got to treat the fighters fair, yeah?
Yeah, you definitely do, and that's really the most head scratching part about MMA and just rules altogether. Nothing's ever consistent when it comes down to how these rules are made. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day is that different states or different countries or anything like that, they're going to have different rules as compared to the other, and you would like to see one unified body set of rules, just to help everybody, just with a little more understanding. And I think for the ref, he needs to be a little bit more consistent as well as, if that's a steadfast rule, if it's a blatant knee, because both knees are pretty blatant and similar knees that both landed. I thought both of them were definitely point deduction worthy. But yeah, the ref seemed like he might have had a little bit of that home crowd with him because he just pulled him to the side and was like, "Hey, that's bullshit. Don't do that again." Exactly. And it's like, so you just tell him it's bullshit, like it's your kid, and you're just trying to discipline him or some shit. Like, yeah, the whole situation was weird.
Yeah, and the opening fight of our vlog, dude, Muhammad Makayev gets that third round submission over Malcolm X Gordon, dude. Thoughts on this fight and thoughts on on Muhammad Mokaev, maybe chasing to be the youngest UFC champion ever. I think he has like 16 months.
Yeah. So very good chance that he could see himself fighting for the title. So you see Figueiredo and Moreno, they're getting ready to fight. If you ask me, I mean, Makai's definitely gonna have his hands full with like a guy like Moreno. Figueiredo, we've seen him taken down before, and the flyweight scrambles are absolutely insane, just as I said in the video as well. But the only thing with Makhachev, man, it just seems like he was able to get the finish, but didn't it, and I guess let me flip it to ask you. Do you think that he might have left a little bit to be desired? Like, basically, do you think that he had a lot of hype coming in and was not able to live up to the hype that was set for him?
I think for talking shit about other fighters, about hyping themselves up, for him hyping himself up so much, he goes to third round and decision like pretty often, dude. I think he thinks he's a little bit better than what he is, but hey, I'm not in there fighting. He's only showed complete dominance overall. Does he have that fucking shot out of a cannon like Hamzat? No, but I mean 125. They're all pretty good, dude. You have to be good as shit to be that size and be like in the UFC because there's no other really sports to play. So like the talent pool has to be like fucking super deep for being that small. Dude, I don't know. I guess I'm just ready to see more. I want to see him against maybe someone in the top 15, like someone like that's not like bottom of the barrel fucking UFC.
Mash now.
Maybe, yeah, something like that.
I mean, that'd be a good progressive move up. And Mash Snell's a pretty good wrestler too. So I mean, that'd be a pretty. I think what is he like number 12, number 10 right now? So
I don't know.
I think that'd be a fair matchup.
Off the top of my head, yeah. It would sound like a pretty good fight. But let's move on down, dude, because I feel like we've already been talking about this past fight for like an hour or so. But dude, it's just so fun. It's the last time that we're gonna talk about it, so might as well get it all out now. Anything else from the fight card as a whole, man?
Nah, man, I do think we have pretty much milked the most interesting parts out of that card.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on down to the fight news. Fight announcements. Up first, we got Willie Knight taking on Marcin Prachnio, and that is on November 19th. Immediate thoughts on that?
William Knight. Is it a heavyweight or light heavyweight?
Oh, that's a good question. It says light heavyweight bout.
I'm curious to see how he's going to make that weight again because I mean I know he's
so thick.
He's short. Dude, he is like a fucking no. He's not a tree stump. Like he's a whole damn tree. Like he is like, and one of those old ass trees.
No,
too.
He's like one of the
ones you see in like
that's been there since like the beginning of time. That's just chiseled by the wind and the water. That's William Knight, dude. Just
he is that damn
stones from Stonehenge.
Dude, he is absolutely made out of fucking stone. So I want to see how he makes 205 going forward because he had a real bad miss in his last 205 fight. So I want to see how he kind of adjusts his weight cut.
Yeah. Two females that you're a fan of, dude. Caitlin Vieira taking on Rocky Pennington. That is January 14th. Immediate thoughts on that?
I think that's a good fight. And Caitlin Vieira, she's been consistent. She's been going in there and getting dubs, and she's actually been going out there and taking legends out in the process. So I think she beat Holly Holm, she beat Misha Tate, and she beats Rocky next. I mean, I think she's already on like a 4 or 5 fight win streak. So I think you could well make a case that if she wins that fight, Caitlin's fight for a title. But I also think in the same hand, I think Rocky's on a 2-3 fight win streak herself. So can make the argument for her as well to work back up into the title fight. So, but both of those girls are scrappy, and that'll be a very underrated fight on one of those little sneaky fight cards for sure.
All right. Me and you have a nickname for this fighter at women's 125. We call her the Junkyard Dog, dude. Lauren Murphy is back, and she is going to get that dog tested, dude. She is fighting none other than the pile driver, Jessica Andrade, dude. Immediate thoughts on January 21st, this happening at, obviously, Flyweight.
R.I.P. JYD.
She's going to get that dog tested. Am I right?
R.I.P. JYD. Because Jessica Andrade, if there's something that she does not do, Jessica Andrade is not going in there to play, dude. Like, she is going in there to take your freaking head off. And I think even in that last Lemos fight, this goes to show that she's just an absolute savage right now. So yeah, I think flyweight, strawweight, put her at bantamweight. Andrade is going to be taking some fucking heads off.
Put her at featherweight, dude. She's still taking heads off. Our next
She
one,
like Josiane Nunes.
right? Jack Della Maddalena taking on, I believe his name is Hot Chocolate, Danny Roberts. That is on November 19th. Care about that one at all?
Jack Della Maddalena is going to be someone to watch out for coming up at 170. His striking super clean, and especially against Danny Roberts too. Danny Roberts is one of those guys that he'll go out there and scrap, but he is a little bit chinny, so I could see a Jack Maddalena finish there. But that should be a pretty good scrap for as long as it lasts.
Gotcha. Maybe this might happen. Maybe it might not happen. I feel like this has been announced a few times now. On February 11th, a middleweight bout. Bobby Knuckles is going to be taking on Paulo Costa, dude. Immediate thoughts on that? UFC 284.
Yeah. So I think we had talked about it before. Like after, it was after Costa's last fight against Luke that people were saying, "Man, I want to see Robert Whittaker and Costa." If Costa went in there and struggled with Luke the way that he did, and it looked like Paulo was kind of playing with his food there in the third round a little bit. And maybe underestimated Luke because he could see where he was tired. But it's definitely going to be some tough sledding for Paulo Costa going in there against Robert Whittaker. Because again, you know me, I'm a big Robert Whittaker fan. Dude's an absolute savage, and again, nobody beat him in middleweight outside of Izzy. So in this fight, Paulo Costa, his fight style, I think it sets up perfectly for Robert Whittaker to get the dub.
Maybe, man. Maybe it will for sure be an interesting one. A few weeks ago, I announced Drakkar Klose versus Mark Madsen, and you hit me with the who cares? Drakkar Klose is now out, and Mark Madsen will now fight Grant Dawson November 5th, dude. So lightweight bout, short notice. I don't know if you care any more than you cared about the last one.
Grant Dawson is one of those young up and coming guys, but surprised to see him on short notice. I feel like I haven't heard from him in a while, so hopefully he's in shape and ready to go. Because I mean, Marco Madsen isn't the most exciting fighter, but if there's one thing he could definitely do is keep a pace. So I'd like to see Grant going in there with a full cardio tank to see how that fight could really turn out. Because he's a great wrestler as well as Madsen is.
One of the best nicknames in the UFC, the Fire Fist, Ji Young Kim, going to be taking on Mandy Baum February 4th. Da Jung is going to be taking on Devin Clark February 4th as well. And I'm sure everyone has been waiting to hear about this for a while, but Patty the Batty is returning apparently against someone that I was putting it into the ether last week, dude. I kept putting it into the ether. I kept getting Malcolm Gordon and Jared Gordon confused. And sure enough, Jared Gordon gets announced for Patty the Batty. Immediate thoughts on this fight, man? On December 10th. That's the right now the December 10th pay-per-view card, 282.
Yeah, I know Patty was trying to get on that MSG card next month, so kind of crazy that he wasn't able to get on there. But at least he's able to get on one of the pay-per-views and get the fight in America as well. So going to be excited to see his I know he's fought in the Apex before, but to actually fight in front of a crowd in America, that'll be kind of like his debut fight in America, you could say. And I'll definitely be excited to see that. And Jared Gordon should provide a pretty good test for him as well. Jared Gordon fought a lot of guys. He's been in the UFC for a long time. And
he died and then came back to life off of like overdoses. Like the dude's been through some shit. He has seen death. He's been on death's door and came back. So the dude is a fighter. Hands down. I still think Patty's got better striking than him, though. If he takes Patty down, I think Patty subs him, and I think Patty's got better striking than him. I think he's a good wrestler. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the wrestling could potentially get Patty some problems, but Patty should be the favorite here for sure.
Yeah. Dude, and so Alex Perez is out against his fight against Amir Albazi. Brandon Royval stepping in on short notice for December 17th. So I don't know how short notice, but he was going to fight Askar Askarov, and he didn't get to fight. So now he's going to fight, taking a fight down, dude, against Amir Albazi. Kind of an odd odd fight, except because Amir Al-Basi is pretty good and he's not really ranked or anything like that.
Well, I think it comes down to because he wanted to fight with Askar, but seemed like Askar had a lot of issues with that last weight cut, and seems like they're kind of putting him on ice for now. I guess to make sure that he's going to be medically cleared. So I think for Roy Ball, he's just one of those gritty, tough fighters who, hey, if this fighter ain't gonna fight me now, hell with it. Put the next guy in, and I'll fight him too. So he kind of carries that attitude around with him, and that definitely explains it for him to take this fight. You know, a lot of risk and not a lot of reward, but something to keep him busy.
Indeed. We've been talking about this one for a few weeks now. Bryce Mitchell and Ilya Taporia. I guess they're finally going to fight each other December 10th, dude. Bryce Mitchell's going to come off couch from eating peanut butter cookies and fight old Ilya Taporia. Well, Ilya Taporia is dialed in. The dude is a calorie counter to the fucking T, shredded up 100%, dude. You know I'm a Thug Nasty fan, but this could not be a tougher fight, dude. Someone's always going to go here. Both undefeated. One of them's going to lose.
Yeah, I definitely, we had talked about it a couple weeks ago, and we had talked about Sadiq potentially fighting Bryce Mitchell, and I think they're kind of ranked a little bit of the same in the division. But I would have to think that Poirier is probably not even ranked at featherweight right now. Or if he is, he's got to be 15, 14. And we do know him to be a savage, but his last fight was at 55 against Jai Herbert. So it's kind of hard to gauge at 45 how much benefit that's going to be for Bryce Mitchell to take that fight, considering he wants to try to move up in the division. But again, another one of those guys like Bryce Mitchell, willing to take on all comers. Looks like Taporia might have poked the soft spot with him, and Bryce Mitchell wants to go in there and give him some of that country whooping.
Dude, his Instagram cracked me up. He's like, Ilya Taporia, boy, I've been sitting on the couch for about 2 weeks eating peanut butter cookies, and he shows his belly and smacks it. He's like, I'll still whoop your ass. It's just the funniest shit, dude. Some news for this weekend.
A true country bumpkin.
Yeah, dude. Some news for this weekend. Clayton Rodriguez is out. Cody Durden will now fight Carlos Mota. The dude looks like the LFA champion right now. And I got to be honest, Cody Durden not been too impressive to me personally. You may have another opinion, but that is all the news that I have for this weekend. Don't forget, this weekend is I believe it's Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva boxing match. Yeah.
Yeah, October 29th.
Dude, that's
October 29th.
That's kind of crazy. Other news, John Jones said that he is preparing to fight December 10th against fucking Stipe, but he don't know what's going on. So I guess if anything happens, I guess concrete, we'll be back next week to talk about that. Do you have any other news topics before we move on to this weekend's fights rather quickly? Because, dude, I feel like we've been on this for a minute now. Yeah.
For a grip.
Yeah.
No, we're good. We keep moving.
All right, dude. So let's move on to this weekend's fight cards. I got to be honest, I have not looked at the card at all, man. As Dorian is looks like he huffed on his camera, fogged it up. That's what it looks like. So we are. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the fights, the main event, all the way down to the prelims, and then we'll give you our thoughts and opinion on really quickly each one of the fights on the card. So our main event of the night, Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen. Co-main event is Tim Means taking on the Dirty Bird. Tim Means taking on Max Payne Griffin. It looks like Waldo Cortez Acosta taking on Jared Vandera. Josh Fremd returning to fight Tresean Gore, dude. Odd fight. Good fight. I know Dorian is definitely a fan of this one, and I'm curious to see which way he leans here. Dustin Jacoby taking on Khalil Roundtree, dude. Tough one that you're going to be able to pick which one. Dude, I don't understand the odds in this fight, but here it is. Phil Hawes taking on Roman Dolidze, dude. What if I told you Phil Hawes was the favorite in that fight, dude?
I cannot tell you, dude. I cannot tell you how many times I have cashed on an underdog going against Phil Hawes, and I will do it again this weekend. And I'll just get the pick out of the way now. Roman Dolidze is going to crush him. I'll get it out the way now.
Dude, Andre Arlovsky's still doing the goddamn thing, and he is taking on the guy that I thought fought a few weeks ago. This guy's name is Marcus Rogerio de Lima. He's the guy that got forearm choked by King Kong Romanov. That's the one that I thought was I think against Tanner Boser. Like I fucking thought it was him, but yeah, ended up losing me money because I got my fighters confused. Andre Arlovsky, 34-20, going to be taking on this guy, dude. I can't believe he's still in the UFC. It blows my mind. And dude, another one, dude, that if I have a lock for the night, this one's going to be it. I'll go ahead and tell you my pick right here. Jung Young Park. As you know, Ugly Man Joe.
Do it.
Dude, Ugly Man Joe, like he's fought the worst two fighters in the division in the UFC possible. There's no two fighters worse. Jamie Pickett and Alan Almadovsky. Jamie Pickett beat him by decision, dude. Like Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. You know I'm a fan of the Iron Turtle, man. Jung Young Park probably gonna crush Ugly Man Joe over here. I would assume you would agree with me as well.
Jung Young Park, I'm just not. I guess I'm not all the way bought in just yet. Because I still think that Eric Anders fight.
You lost
you can make
to
an argument,
Jamie
Eric Anders.
Pickett. You are not good unless you show something Pickett to me, dude, that shows that you have improved since that fight, dude. All you've beaten was Alan Almadovsky, which that is who everyone beats their first fight to come in the UFC, and we've seen that a few times now. Yeah, so we're not going to talk about this too long, but we got the return of Chase, the Dream Hooper, and he is going to be taking on Steve Garcia. You know which way I'm rocking there, and Cody Durden, as I said, going to be taking on Carlos Mota. Christian Rodriguez and Joshua Williams. I don't know who those are. So we're going to start right there. Christian Rodriguez versus Joshua Williams. Dude, do you have a lean this way? I got to be honest, I don't know much about either one of these guys.
I ain't got a clue about either or. I'm trying to do a little bit of last second research on Christian Rodriguez, but almost seems like the Joshua Williams, believe he's one of those contender series guys. Might be one of those where they're trying to boost him up, but other than that, not too familiar with either or.
Yeah, put it this way, I don't even have options for odds for that fight. So next one, as I said, Cody Durden is going to be taking on Carlos Mota. Nicholas Mota fight a few weeks ago, and they got the same last name, even though one's got an extra T. I believe he is the LFA champion, or at least he was in the photo that I've seen. Cody Durden, I guess he hasn't impressed me, but I don't know enough about Carlos Mota to have a strong lean either way. But if you ask me, I'm just going to pick against Cody Durden, but I don't really want to throw this in our picks for the week. I don't really know. It'd be a kind of just a shot in the dark.
Yeah, I was going to say Cody Durden. I think he's put on a couple of performances now in the UFC, and not super familiar with Carlos Mota, so I know he's the flyweight champ, but taking it on short notice, Cody Durden getting the full camp, I probably would have to say that I would lean towards Cody. He's got decent wrestling.
Yeah, but as I said, it's just kind of a shot in the dark because Cody Durden hasn't impressed me yet. But we will move on to someone that has impressed me. The 255 favorite, Chase Hooper, taking on the plus 215 underdog, Steve Garcia. I got Chase Hooper probably by decision, dude. Steve Garcia's he's tough, and it seems to me like Chase Hooper is kind of wanting to show his skills now. Maybe he's been training down at South Carolina with Wonder Boy, dude. Maybe Chase Hooper comes in here and gets his first knockout of his UFC career. I'm for sure going Chase Hooper here. How are you going?
So I guess because I think he's gotten like TKOs. So I guess you're thinking in terms of like a standing stoppage,
like he might actually show some improvement on the feet enough to where he'll actually drop somebody and do what he does.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely curious to see. His biggest thing has just been his frame. He's so freaking lanky, and just from he's got no body mass fighting at featherweight, dude. He's just so skinny. I would almost rather see him at 35, but he might be too tall and just have too much body to be able to cut. But he doesn't have a lot of body fat either. But yeah, it should be pretty easy dub for Chase Hooper though.
Fair enough. And then right here we go. Plus 200 Joseph Holmes taking on Jung Young Park. I already said I'm going the Iron Turtle here just because, dude, Ugly Man Joe has not. He came into the UFC and he said Bruce Buffer introduced him as the fighter that wishes to be known as Ugly Man or some shit like that. Like that was his name, was Ugly Man Joe. His name was not Joseph Holmes. And I guess after Jamie Pickett beat him, he started going by Joseph Holmes again. Immediate thoughts on this fight, or I guess thoughts on this fight? Which way you leaning? You're muted, I think.
Yes, I am. I was holding back a cough, but no, Ugly Man Joe, he has gone in there, gone and scrapped a little bit in some of his fights. I mean, he did lose to Jamie Pickett. I think Jamie Pickett's just more athletic than him. You know, Joseph Holmes, he is a little bit more plotty. Yeah, I was thinking potentially leaning towards Joseph Holmes, but nah, I'm going with the Iron Turtle too, man. I just think there's too many inconsistencies for Joseph Holmes for me to trust him.
Like after you point out the only 2 UFC fights he's had are literally the worst 2 fighters in the division in the UFC, and he lost to one of them. It's like you have to go Iron Turtle there. Makes sense. Andre Arlovsky taking on Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Andre Arlovsky plus 190 underdog, minus 225 favorite Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Dude, I'm scared to pick here because Andre Arlovsky, dude, is just kind of like that fucking spoiler, dude. Every single time that you think he's done, he fucking wins via split decision, dude. I don't know who wins more by split decision, Caleb Jukayan or Andre Arlovsky. He just seems to keep getting that dub, dude. Which way you leaning here? I honestly don't have a lean either way. I won't be picking this fight.
I mean, looking at the last couple of fights, I mean, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, he's more scrappy. He can get caught in a slugfest, and he can tend to get hit more.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if Dorian knows that he's gone or not.
Yeah, dude, that was weird.
Hey,
I have
okay. we got him back. We got him back. Yeah, dude.
I have no idea what happened.
Dude, clearly having audio issues today and now video issues. So I don't know what the hell, dude. So anyway, Andre Arlovsky versus who am I talking about?
Give me
Arlovsky versus Marcus Regima.
Yeah, if I had a lean, probably Arlovsky. Yeah,
right.
I think Arlovsky. I think it'd be the cleaner striker.
Dude, that one is so tough to. I guess if we need,
I didn't realize Rogerio de Lima was 37 years old as well. So keep that in mind. I mean, Arlovsky's 43, but Rogerio de Lima is not too far behind him.
Yeah, I guess strictly. So maybe we'll have fucking 3 picks. Give me de Lima here. He's just a big guy and he does have power. Andre Arlovsky eventually. He's going to get hit eventually and just kind of fold over. The thing is, he knows when he's beaten. So if he's like in a choke, he'll fucking tap right away. Like he's not going to fight through something. Once he's done, he's done. I think possibly de Lima can get him out of there. So that will be our first different pick if we need it. Phil Hall's taking on Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze just mollywopped the absolute shit out of Kyle Dawkins, yeah?
Yeah. And with that brutal knee. You remember he broke his nose, like sent his nose on the other side of his face?
And I've been like a Roman Dolidze fan for a while, ever since back when he held Staropoli up against the fence for literally 15 minutes of the 15-minute fight. He was on his back up against the fence. That fight literally had me in tears. I was laughing so hard because it was almost like he was thriving and like the bro, you don't know how to get out of this. So I'm just gonna hold you right here. That fight cracked me up. But I believe people are a little hyped on no hype Phil Halls after his last fight. Duran win, dude. I mean, but it was Duran win. Like he had like
a guy who's exceptionally smaller.
He had like a Subway footlong on each one of his arms, reach advantage over him, dude. It's like he should have done that. I guess we're both going the underdog here, Roman Dolidze, and probably one of my locks of the night. Can Phil Halls surprise us? I guess he could, yeah.
Yeah, potentially, but if you take into account that Roman Dolidze actually used to fight at 205 as well in the UFC, and moving down to 185. I think he's going to have the significant size advantage against Phil Halls, and that's what's going to help him get the dub. And Phil Halls gasses that a lot.
Okay, moving on down. You say consistency. One fighter that is not consistent, and he is one of your favorites though, taking on another one of your favorites. Khalil Roundtree taking on Dustin Jacoby, dude. Khalil Roundtree, you don't really know which Khalil Roundtree you're going to get. If he comes out like the Khalil Roundtree that looks like he's been training Muay Thai literally every single second of his life, when he's just this lethal, just low leg kicks over and over, and then like where he's got nasty like these side thigh kicks. If you get that Khalil Roundtree, dude, he's lethal. He's probably going to win. But you see Khalil Roundtree that he just kind of looks like flat-footed sometimes and just kind of gets jabbed up. And if there is someone that is going to stand in your face and be there a long time and jab you up, it is Dustin Jacoby, dude. Former K1 kickboxer or fucking Glory kickboxer. One of the two things. Alex Pereira got knocked out, but you know, it is what it is. Got a chin on him, tough as all hell. Great striking overall. I'm going to see which way you're leaning here. I have my own kind of lean, but I don't know, dude. How are you leaning here?
I'll tell you what. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't want to pick for this fight. Like, I don't have a – the only reason why I don't have a lean is because, again, you know, I'm fans of both guys. I've been a big fan of Dustin Jacoby since he came in from the Contender Series, I believe in 2020. And really, I've been a fan of Khalil ever since his – Ultimate Fighter run when it was Coach Joanna and Claudia Gadelha going up against one another. So I've definitely rode with Khalil for a long time. And, you know, the biggest thing with him, as you said, consistency, man. We definitely want to see him put together performances like he did in his last fight against Carl Roberson. He just tends to dip off a little bit and then just gives us one of those dud performances where, on the other hand, you see Dustin Jacoby coming in. Honestly, Dustin Jacoby got a lot of momentum right now. I don't think he's also fighting the UFC yet since he's been back. I think he's only came to a draw, had a knockout in his last fight against Da Un Jung. And some people said that was an early stoppage too, but I thought the way that Da Un Jung fell, yeah, that definitely gave the ref every reason to stop that fight. Dustin Jacoby's striking is super duper sharp, and yeah, he's a savage, but I do not want to. I can't pick this fight because I have too much love for both fighters.
Fair enough. I'm going to lean Dustin Jacoby here, just strictly on just the consistency. I think I like when Khalil meets a kickboxer that is worthy to his skill. He tends to struggle just a tad, maybe shooting for takedowns and not really getting them. I'm going Dustin Jacoby here. Up next, Josh Frimm taking on Tresean Gore. And I don't want to get Josh Frimm confused. Who is the guy that – am I getting him confused with the guy that Andre Fialho fought? Who's that guy?
I think you are. Josh Frimm is the guy who fought your boy, Fluffy. Yeah. He was the one who fought Fluffy on last minute notice. And, dude, he's actually a pretty good size for that division as well. And I remember in that fight, he gave Fluffy some issues, and he ended up taking that fight on short notice. Fluffy really had to rely on his wrestling to kind of edge the fight out there. So
and he's going to be taking on Tresean Gore, dude.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, for me, Tresean Gore, he's, you know, I know he had his run on the Ultimate Fighter, and he was getting all knockouts and stuff like that, but been a little bit disappointing since he's been in the UFC. And he lost his last fight against Cody Brundage. Now, Brundage is starting to come along. He started to put a couple finishes together, so I could definitely see, Brundage fighting up in the division one day. But for this fight, man, I think I'm gonna go Josh Frimm here.
Let me just see.
I think the size advantage is gonna play a big factor because Tresean Gore is bricked up, but I think he's going to be a little shorter coming in. Yeah, so Josh Frimm's coming in at 6'3", where Tresean Gore is 6 foot. Only a 1-inch reach advantage for Josh Frimm though, so pretty surprising to see 3-inch height advantage and 1-inch reach advantage, but I do think that that size is going to play into Josh Frimm's hands.
Yeah, well, throw me the underdog here. Throw me the underdog, Tresean Gore, for I guess our second different one of the night. Moving on. Waldo Cortez Acosta taking on Jared Vandera, dude. I didn't even see that this one was even on here, dude. Jared Vandera, of course I'm clicking shit. Fuck.
Yeah, Jared Vandera came off that loss against Alexei Olenek when I remember we were kind of going back and forth, and I was like, dude, there's no way that Jared Vandera gets a win, and you was like, dude, or I was like, there's no way Olenek gets the win. And you're like, dude, there's no way Vandera gets the win, and of course Vandera goes in there, gets tapped out.
Yeah. Here's what I was going to say. Jared Vandera plus 165 underdog, minus 195 favorite for Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think that's the guy that I was getting confused with Delima. It looks like they're both going to fight on the same card.
Yeah, potentially. And he fought on the Contender Series not too long ago, correct? When it like a month or so, like a month or two ago, that Waldo Cortez Acosta was on the Contender Series, or at least I thought it was. It might not have been the same guy because again, we are good for
Oh,
mixing fighters up
yeah,
here.
yeah. No, you are correct. I think Waldo Cortez Acosta was like the giant baseball player that was on the Contender
Yeah.
Series. I'm getting someone confused with someone else completely. I
Yeah.
have no clue who I was even thinking about. Yeah, interesting one, dude. Acosta, dude, he's for sure got power. I'm glad you pointed that out. Jared Vandera 80-inch reach on Google. It does not say Acosta's reach, dude. 6'3" versus 6'3", 260, 265. Both some big boys, dude. Give me Acosta here. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Vandera, he's tough. I don't think he's going to be easy. But I do think that Cortez Acosta, he can again. We were talking about it. He can crack a little bit. Potentially a knockout, but I would expect to at least see a knockdown and Cortez Acosta getting the win.
All right, probably our last and final different pick of the day because we'll probably both pick the same in the main event. But Dirty Bird Tim Means taking on Max Payne Griffin. I got to rock with Max Payne Griffin here, dude. You look at Max Payne in his past few fights, dude. He just seems to have this meanness about him now that really didn't used to be there. But like it's almost like out of nowhere, dude. It's like he thrives in the fight now. It's like he just loves the fight. I'm going Max Payne Griffin. Do you agree with my take on this new Max Payne, if you will?
I am absolutely doing this because we repping the Dirty Bird. Dirty Bird gonna get the win.
Did you hear what I said at all
I
there, or
do.
are you just
Yeah. No, I was moving over to that, but no, I do think that he's had a little bit of a mean streak to him. But I think honestly, so he ended up having that Carlos Condit fight where he came out and was on fire. Later in that fight, he started to lose a little bit of that gas tank. Carlos Condit was able to come back and land some good strikes there in that third round and was able to get a lot closer than what people had anticipated based off that first round. And I thought in his last fight against Neil Magny, a lot of people thought Max Griffin won, but again, I thought that his fast starts actually led to his demise as the fight went. And if there's one thing that Tim Means can do, he can definitely keep the pace. And if Max Griffin is going in there to try to strike with Tim Means, it ain't gonna be pretty for Max Payne Griffin. I don't know if Tim Means gets a knockout, but I could definitely see Max Griffin getting sliced up with some elbows and knees in the clinch. And I see Tim Means getting a win here.
Max Payne Griffin minus 180 favorite over the
Dirty
plus
Bird.
155 dog Tim Means. So at least I'm not the only one that sees Max Payne's path to victory there. Main event of the card, Calvin Kattar taking on Arnold Allen. Dude, Arnold Allen is undefeated in the UFC, dude. He's just been on a fucking tear nonstop. Gotta go Arnold Allen here. Calvin Kattar's good. He's shown that he is not he's not done after showing the beating that he took by Max, that he's still improving. Calvin Kattar, young up and comer, got power, dude. Tends to keep surprising people more and more every single time he fights. If he comes out there and finishes Calvin Kattar like he did Dan Hooker, dude, you could probably count Arnold Allen for being like the next 2 or 3 people to get a fucking title shot at 145.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if Arnold Allen is able to get a finish like that, I mean, the two guys that you're kind of talking about right now are Josh Emmett and Yair Rodriguez. So with the situation with Volkanovski going on, moving up to 55, if he does officially do that, I could see an interim title fight at 145. Arnold Allen gets a big finish. He could very well find himself right in that conversation, but he has looked like a savage as of late. I think, again, a word that we like to hit on a lot is consistency. We just don't see Arnold Allen a lot in there. I think he's only taken one fight a year over the last 7 years, so he is undefeated. Been a little bit of a slow roll, and I do think that Calvin Kattar has already fought a lot of the top guys in this division. I do think that, fighting Max, even though he didn't win, even when he was at the point to where I'm even yelling at Herb Dean, hey, Herb Dean, you probably need to stop this fight. When it was Max just throwing fucking Dragon Ball Z combos on Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar still was cracking Max with some big shots, and that was ultimately why Herb Dean didn't stop it. Calvin Kattar in his last fight used a lot of the wrestling against Giga, which is able to neutralize a lot of Giga's attacks, and then I think later in that fight he was able to really take advantage. Seeing that this is the main event and Arnold Allen hasn't been there before, give me Calvin Kattar by decision, and I think Kattar gets it done.
So we'll have a few different ones. So our first different one of the night, we do love to pick different in the main event, dude. We don't pick the same too often. And going back to our normal schedule here, I am going Arnold Allen, Dorian going Calvin Kattar. Co-main event, Dorian going the Dirty Bird, Tim Means. I am going Max Payne Griffin. And oh man, I don't really feel
it was Arlovsky and Rogerio de Lima.
Yeah,
and honestly, if I had one to drop, I wouldn't want to do.
I wouldn't want to do Trayshawn Gore. I wouldn't want to do that one.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I don't feel comfortable about.
All right, so we're gonna do Arlovsky and de Lima, Dirty Bird, Tim Means, Max Payne Griffin, and Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen. So there is chances for sure for either one of us to get clean sweeps this week, dude. I feel like all three of those fights very close, very competitive, could go either way. I really don't know how it's going to end, but that is the fights for this upcoming weekend. Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen, dude. We have been at this shit for like over 2 hours now. It fucking feels like I don't know how long it actually is, dude. But I'm ready to get out of here. You got anything before we get out of here, man?
I feel the same as you. It was a super dope time to have you come over for the weekend and be able to watch the card. So that shit was dope. And if you guys have not checked it out yet, Golden Octagon YouTube channel, check out the fight vlog. Me and Matt came over to my house, ended up watching the pay-per-view, and there's a lot of funny reactions and stuff to the video. So you guys could check it out.
Yeah, it was a fucking blast, dude. I would love to do it again, but honestly, it's a fucking hassle. It's a little bit of a drive. As you
not
see,
super often, but
the pig champ will be put back up on the line this week. Dorian has a chance to win it back. Yeah, he hasn't had it more than like 2 or 3 weeks. He's hopefully that he can get it back for a decent streak this next time he has it, but I'm not going to let him. That's all from us here this time. I am Matt Anderson. Dorian Rose over on the other side of your screen. Islam Makachev, that like button for us. If you guys wouldn't mind, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are not. Don't forget, comments are always appreciated down below, and we will catch you next week. Peace.